So I never intended to be a landlord. Initially it was a design problem, and I'd like to talk about that. So about in 2007, I started going to a lot of conferences about energy use in buildings, and I realized that buildings use about half the energy in America right now. And not only just buildings, but building operations. So that means what it takes to operate buildings is about 43% of our energy consumption. And you know, it got me thinking it's definitely a problem. That's a lot. It actually very much eclipses transportation. And that was a surprise to me when I learned this. And then I started to look at projections on how much buildings were projected to consume in the future. And it's kind of on track to be more or less out of control. Then I also looked at the issue of climate change. And if we look here, we can see that if we burn all the coal that is available, we can push the parts per million of carbon in the atmosphere way past 450, which is what scientists say is going to be irreversible climate change, and we will live on a different planet. So when I saw this stuff, you know, and when you realize this, you kind of, it's concerning. It's a very concerning kind of thing. But there is some good news. We can deal with this. So part of the good news is that 75% of all the building sector in America will be new or renovated by 2035. So that's an amazing opportunity for us to rethink the way we think about energy use in buildings, and just the sustainability of buildings in general. And I also, this is from the Department of Energy, I realized after going to a lot of building scientists, talking to engineers and architects, that if we drive down efficiency in buildings 60 to 70%, and then provide renewable energy on that building 30 to 40%, we could actually have net zero buildings. And that means over the course of a year, that building could power itself. Now, not all buildings, especially existing ones, can reach this goal, but we can try, you know, we can try to strive for that. If we look up here at energy demand, that's a code-compliant New England building in 2008, but in reality, the buildings around this area are way above that. So we're using a tremendous amount of energy in our buildings. So I had a little bit of an epiphany around 2005. Providence has a number of inexpensive existing buildings that need to be reinvented. If one could create a model where you could do deep energy retrofits and end up with a price far below new construction costs, it could be a game changer. And I started on my journey. The very first project was 479 Washington Street, and I worked with Peter Case. A lot of you probably know him. He did the box office. And I found this building over by Julian's on the west side. Now this building, yeah, this was a nightmare. It was the chop shop in the neighborhood. It was a real blighted building. At this point it was unoccupied. But it had all the bones that I looked for a deep energy retrofit. And it had good southern exposure on the roof. And I bought it and went ahead and developed it and did a deep energy retrofit. So this is what it looked like inside. It was definitely really rough inside. It had been abandoned, and there hadn't been much going on for a couple of years. And previous to that, it was a chop shop, like I said, and it had been kind of a real issue in the neighborhood. The outside isn't, you know, we didn't spend a whole lot of money on it. We wanted to go fairly low key, cleaned it up a little, created new doorways and entryways. But inside, we did a deep energy retrofit, and what that means is we blew in cellulose insulation and put a lot of insulation on the roof, and basically created an igloo cooler. In this next slide, if you look where it says heater, that tiny little gas, space heater, heats that entire space. And the reason it heats that space is because it's so incredibly insulated. So, and also, the lights are on for this photograph, but there's solar tubes and daylighting, other strategies people use for low energy. And the project came in at $135 a square foot. So people who work with buildings probably know that's a pretty low price. It's well below new construction. You can kind of build crappy new construction around 200. So I thought I was onto something. And so I went bigger and better with 28 Walcott Street. A lot of you probably have been to this building. This is what it looked like when I drove upon this building. And it was really, kind of blighted, but I saw a lot of potential. All the windows were more or less cinder blocked up, but it had great southern exposure, great roof for solar and solar thermal. I knew that when I peeked through like the little crack in the windows, that I could see city views that hadn't been seen forever. There was just this amazing potential there. This is actually, anyone who's been to my kitchen, this is what my kitchen used to look like. This place, this is actually half of it cleaned out. This place was an electrical supply warehouse, and it was filled with stuff from top to bottom. And Barnaby's not his head. He knew Dendra as electrical supply. He was a great guy, total character, but man, was there a lot of stuff in there. And
that was Dan Dritas?
That was Dan Dritas.
That was my first job.
Oh,
working in there.
Awesome. And this is kind of a, in progress kind of thing of it being framed out. This is actually looking from the front all the way through the back of the building. And then this is what makes it, part of what makes it one of these low energy buildings, is that we went in and framed out and blew Icynene insulation everywhere. And we also had board stock insulation on the roof and a white roof. So we're creating a minimal load on the building, which allowed me to use things like pellet stoves and other kind of alternative heating and cooling methods. And this is what the building looks like today. This kind of shows in the corner, you can see the solar panel there, but not everything I do is just, I tend to think a lot about energy, but you also have to have good design. People have to kind of like it, it has to be appealing to the eye. So part of this was just using very simple materials, being true to the materials, and working with those constraints. This is the architect. The architect was 25 at the time. She was almost a couple years out of Roger Williams. It was a great, she was a perfect collaborator for me. She kind of let me do what I wanted to do, but was a genius at telling me, no, like you're wrong. And she stepped in at just the right time. So for me, it was the perfect collaborator. And then Dave Stem Contracting did all the contracting work. And you can see the solar panel there that powers the office, and then the solar thermal in the back, which supplies probably about, I would say, 66% of the space heating for the building. And then this is that picture that I showed of that was the kitchen. This is the kitchen now. So, in addition to being low energy and sustainable, it's pretty fancy. And also, cats love a low energy building. They like the windowsills are 2 feet deep in this building because there's so much insulation. So they have all these places they hang out. It's kind of cat heaven, really.